shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. But I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. But I haven't seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money, money, money. All you got is like being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. Yo, it's the love of money that's you know, like money so much, why do you get up and go to work? Yeah, everybody knows that you're all for the things that you think I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Ray Cortez.
Good morning, Black world, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It is truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to be coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life Academy studios here in St. Louis, Missouri, guys. If you are serious about your business, and you know, like I know, that all business is 80% branding and marketing, then you want to join Monetize My Life Academy. For the next week and a half or so until October 31st, Monetize My Life Academy is discounted 80% for a membership, down from $97 a month to just $20 a month. Everything you need for branding and marketing, live webinars, recorded courses and classes, ebooks, you name it, all the subjects, email marketing, video marketing, social media marketing, and even breaks down different social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Everything you want as far as branding and marketing is there in Monetize My Life Academy. You get into our private Facebook group. You get to ask me any questions that you want, and I respond with video responses and all of that good stuff. So I got you covered from head to toe when it comes to branding and marketing, and all you have to do is plug in. Send me an inbox if you're serious, and I will go ahead and text you the 80% discount code so that you can grab your membership for just $20 per month. Today, it is Free Business Coaching Fridays, where we literally give you free business coaching. Ask any questions, business related, finance related. If I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If not, I might have to research it and get back to you. But hey, this is what we do, man. This is my way of saying thank you for tuning in to Talking Money in the Morning on a regular basis. And for those of you who don't know, just in case you knew, let me tell you exactly who this show is for. This show is for risers and grinders only, man. If you got to be ready to get up, get out and get something, and if that's you, this is your show. This show is for legacy builders. If you're going through some tough sacrifices right now and you don't mind, because you know that those sacrifices will lead to the next generation being in a better position, then this is your show. On the other hand, who is the show not for? The show is not for the eternal pessimist. If you're the type of person that's got a problem for every solution, do not tune into this stream. It's not just your man. If you're the type of person got that weird relationship with money, you think money is evil, capitalism is a dirty word, you think wealthy people are jerks, then how dare you come hang out with a bunch of wealthy people this morning? You can exit stage left and we won't miss you. I can tell you each and every morning, if you've never seen a future billionaire before, you're looking at one. Jeez. So watch me work, man. 2027 is going down. I know you don't think anybody can become a billionaire in 10 years, but I'm not going to let you superimpose your limitations on me. I got a strategy. I got a game plan. I got good mentors in my life. So yeah, it's going down, y'all. It's going down. So do me a huge favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and make sure that you share this out to other people. And you can comment, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Doesn't really matter. Just let me know what you think of the show, and I'd appreciate that. And then for you guys, what's up, Dre? For you guys on Facebook, go ahead and do the same thing. Go ahead and hit share. And if you have not already subscribed to the feed, hit the little notification button so you get notifications when we go live each and every morning with the show. Today is Free Business Coaching Fridays. But before I get into that, I got one more announcement, guys. Would you spend $15 to learn how to transform your family's financial future for generations to come. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, I'm having a generational wealth blueprint workshop this Sunday, October 22nd at Jack of All Faiths Barbershop here in St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm going to lay out a generational wealth blueprint that if you're willing to sacrifice for just 10 years and do this blueprint, put this blueprint in place, I can all but guarantee that your grandchildren will inherit 7 figures. Wait a minute, what? $15 to guarantee that your grandchildren will inherit 7 figures. Yep. Generational Wealth Blueprint is going down. Jack of All Faiths Barbershop here in St. Louis, Missouri. Inbox me or comment below, and I will throw the Eventbrite link in so you can grab your tickets. You can also pay at the door when you arrive. But yeah, it's going down. I'm going to give you the blueprint that will transform your family's finances forever. Now, this is generational wealth blueprint. This is not get rich next month. If you want to get rich next month, then buy a lottery ticket and cross your fingers, because this ain't that. But if you are serious about building generational wealth and you need a game plan, you just don't know how to put your pennies in order, how to put your ducks in a row, we're going to lay that out for you this Sunday, October 22nd, Jack of All Faiths Barbershop here in St. Louis, Missouri. And guess what? This event will not be televised, nor will it be streamed live. You have to be in the building to get this knowledge. So inbox me, I'll get you the details, the address. If you go to my page, you'll see the event is there. If you want to RSVP via that event, grab your Eventbrite ticket. Now, free game Fridays or free business coaching Fridays. The way we do it is you can ask any question, business related, branding and marketing related, finance related. It doesn't really matter. If you think it's in my wheelhouse, I got you. If not, I'm still, I'm man enough to say I don't know. and maybe I'll research it, and maybe it becomes a topic that we should dedicate an entire show for, and we'll do that for you. So type in your questions, but when you give me your questions, give me the name of your business and your brand. Tell us a bit about your business and your brand, because you never know who's on this stream right now that's looking to connect with somebody like you. You never know who's going to watch this stream on the replay later and is willing to connect with someone like you. So we have a problem in our community with being arrogant about our businesses, right? My man Larry Leonard of Teshawater says you have to be arrogant about your business, right? I love what I do. I have all the confidence in the world in what I do. And just like McDonald's will play the same 30-second commercial 50,000 times per day, I'm going to use these platforms. Everywhere I go, I'm going to be screaming from the rooftops, the top of my lungs, how great my businesses and my services are and why you need them and how they can solve your problem. But you guys will get on a stream like this where we're talking about business and you won't even put in the name of your business and your brand. Come on, guys. If you're trying to build a business, then you absolutely have to be arrogant about your brand, and you cannot be afraid to put it out there, man. So tell me the name of your business and your brand, then ask your question, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, while you guys are shy, I know it takes you a little bit of time to warm up. If you're warming up and you can't figure out what question you want to ask, then we recap this week's show. So yesterday's show, I had my man Bless Ellis on from the Kingdom family. Sharp brother, man, and kind of the epitome of what Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about all the time, right? He says you don't have to run a business to own a business, and the brother owns several businesses, and he don't run none of them, right? But he's vested, and he gets the income from those businesses. He talked about a friend of his who owns several dental clinics, right? She owns several dental clinics, and she didn't go to school for dentistry. She just saw a need and said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me there's a need for dentistry in our communities and no dentist has decided to come put an office here? So she owns several dentist offices, but she's not a dentist. See, when you're not afraid to invest your money and you see a need, all entrepreneurs do or solve problems. That's the definition of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur solves problems. Is a problem solver, and the degree to which you can solve problems will determine how well you can get paid. I'm gonna say that again. All an entrepreneur is a problem solver. And the degree to which you can solve problems will determine how you get paid. Now, the number one problem you need to be able to solve as a problem solver is to put it out there so that people can know you and recognize you and see you as a problem solver. They got to know what problems you can solve. So your branding and marketing is critical, right? But when they know what problems you solve, then they will come to you if they ever have those problems in their life, right? So Brother Bless, I mean, he really poured it on thick and laid it down on. He said he's going, and he's at a phase in his life where he used to try to be seen, right? Flashy clothes, flashy cars, big house. And the name of the game for a lot of Black people is do everything you can to be seen, right? And he said, man, that ain't it. He said, now I am minimizing my life so I can maximize my future. In other words, while everybody else is trying to expand, he's in contraction mode. He said he went from a 6,000 square foot house down to a 3,000 square foot house, from a 3,000 down to a 1,500, from a 1,500 to an apartment, because now he has minimized and stripped away all the fluff of his life to the bare bone necessities, right? And just to give you a hint, those are in St. Louis, Missouri, that's one of the keys to building generational wealth. He stripped his life all the way down. Now, guess what? Because he's not spending $1,000 a month trying to heat a 6,000 square foot house, guess what he's able to do with that extra $1,000 a month? He's able to invest it, right? Just because he's not trying to light up that 6,000 square foot house, and he's not trying to water the grass in that 6,000 square foot house's lawn, guess what that does to his budget? It creates more cash flow that he can use to invest into building his future. So he's minimizing his life so he can maximize his future. How many of you guys are willing to shrink out of the public eye? Right? I put on my Instagram yesterday that I'm going to fade to black. Right? I'm going to disappear. Wealthy people, I know a guy worth over $600 million, drives a 15-year-old Cadillac. And if you saw him jump out of his car in just a t-shirt and a blazer, you would never know that this guy is worth over 600 million. See, wealthy people know how to disappear. Poor people, one of the reasons that they remain poor is they spend all of their money trying to be seen. One of the reasons poor and middle class people stay stuck where they are financially is because they spend all of their money trying to be seen. And this guy worth over 600 million, wears a t-shirt and a blazer all the time and drives a 15-year-old Cadillac. You wouldn't even know this guy is approaching $1 billion. You wouldn't even know it. Right? But you make $30,000 a year and you drive a $30,000 car. You make $30,000 a year and you buy the biggest house money can buy. It is crazy, our mentality. Now, it is true that we've been socially conditioned with this mentality, but we've got to come out of it now. We see the results, right? It's like, I liken it to, because Bless talked about, you know, us being addicted to retail, right? We're addicted to this crazy lifestyle, and we know the result. So it would be like today, 2017, after 30 years of devastation from crack in our communities, in 2017, somebody starts smoking crack today. Right now, today, 2017. October 20th, somebody today starts experimenting with crack. After seeing 30 years of what crack has done in our community, starting today, right? But we know what consumerism has done to our lives over the last 100 years, and still we won't transform and say, you know what? I don't need all this junk. I don't need all this crap. I'm going to take every dime I get and I'm going to invest and put it to work for me. I'm going to create me an emergency fund, and I'm going to start putting my money to work for me. I'm going to collaborate with some other brothers and sisters, and we're going to put our money to work for us. But we're addicted to being seen. We're addicted to showing everybody what we're worth. So we got a $500 handbag, but we living in a Section 8 house. Brothers got the nice whips with the big rims, but they live with their girlfriend and they don't even pay bills. But it appears that you're shining, right? And then if you want to take it deeper, into the psychology, we are really it becomes easy for big business to get our money from us in that capacity, because they know that our self-worth has been beaten down to almost zero. And in order for us to feel like something, we like to adorn ourselves with valuable items or things that appear to be valuable, right? My self-worth is tied to my Jordans. When I can rock a $200 pair of sneakers, then I feel good about myself, right? My self-worth is tied to my hairstyle. When I can rock $400 weaves, then I feel good about myself. My self-worth is tied to the type of car I drive, right? If I'm driving a luxury sedan, a foreign whip, then I feel good about myself, right? See, this thing goes deep, man. But I want you to understand, Brother Bless said, he couldn't have put it any plainer. He said he's minimizing his life so he can maximize his future. See, when we go to the Generational Wealth Blueprint on Sunday, if you're in the St. Louis area, you got to come out. When we go to the Generational Wealth Blueprint, we're going to talk about stripping your life down to nothing so that you can see what that money that was going to all of that junk can actually do for you. And I promise y'all, man, in just 10 years, you can position yourself so that your grandchildren will inherit 7 figures. Anybody cool with that? Type 7 figures in the chat. If you knew a strategy that will cause you to go through some tough sacrifices for the next 7 to 10 years, but it will guarantee that your grandchildren will inherit 7 figures. Put 7 figures in the chat. I want to know who I'm talking to, right? So that was what we did yesterday. We really sat down with Bless, and it was, there's a game plan, Courtney, that we have our hands on that we could literally in 10 years position you, right? It's not going to be easy, but is your legacy worth sacrificing for just 10 years? The 10 years are going to come and go anyway. Or are you going to maintain or continue the current lifestyle that you're having where you have nothing to show for it at the end of these 10 years? Right? That's the question. 10 years are going to go by anyway. Are you going to continue the current lifestyle that you have so that 10 years from now you have nothing to show for it? Or will you switch things up? Are you willing to strip down to the bare bones? Are you willing to minimize your life so that in 10 years, you have the seed capital that's going to ensure that your grandchildren inherit 7 figures, right? All it takes is for one generation, y'all, to sacrifice, and every generation that comes after us can live a radically different life. All it takes is one generation. The generation above us could have sacrificed in this way, but they didn't know to, right? We have no excuse as Generation X, coming right under the baby boomers. Yeah, they put us in position to make sure we got college educated and all that kind of stuff, man. But now in this age of technology where financial education is all over the place, investment education is all over the place, there's real estate courses all over the place. Man, you mean to tell me that you can't sacrifice for a few years and become wealthy? with all of this information at our fingertips? If you're in St. Louis, you got to show up. It's 15 bucks. I'm going to lay out a generational wealth game plan that will transform your life, but not only yours, but the lives of your future descendants. No questions today? Well, all right. I'll just keep going. But if you got questions, put your questions in the chat. We can answer your questions. But even if you don't have questions, please, y'all, understand this about branding and marketing. Everywhere I go, people know I'm the financial health mentor, because that's all I talk about. Put the name of your brand in the chat, please, so that other people watching this stream, poking around in the chat, can see the name of your company, your brand. Don't, if you're ashamed of your brand, you need to get out of business. Yeah, I said it. If you are ashamed of your brand, you need to get out of business. Now, if you're ashamed of it because you know you're not doing the things that you should be doing in your brand to put it up on a pedestal where it should be, then get to work on building your brand. Says, what is the name of your clinic this weekend? It's Generational Wealth Blueprint. It's going to be, it's in St. Louis. I'm holding it at a good buddy's barbershop. Seats are extremely limited. I only have about 25 seats available. So Generational Wealth Blueprint is the name of that brand. And guess what, guys? If you guys want to partner with me and bring me to your city, and we do this Generational Wealth Blueprint, I do 2 signature workshops. I do how to build wealth from scratch, and I do now, this is the new one, Generational Wealth Blueprint. And it might even replace how to build wealth from scratch, because I think building generational wealth is a little bit more important and showing you some things in that nature. So yes, I'm willing to bring this workshop to your church, to your community, to whatever, right? TGB Wealth Builders Financial Group. There we go. There we go. So even if you don't have any questions, give us the name of your brand. If you are in business and you're not building a brand, I tell you guys this every Friday. If you're in business and you're not building a brand, guess what? You're not building a sustainable business. Mac 2008, motivating wealth. Good, good. If you are not building a brand, but you are in business, I promise you, you're not building a sustainable business. So that was yesterday with Bless. Wednesday, we did the power of unity. We talked about the fact there's a scripture, I think it is in Proverbs 30:26, says the locusts have no general, but they move about in bands. But what that's really saying is that they have so much unity that they don't need a commander, right? They don't need a leader, right? See, Black people don't need a leader. Black people need leadership. I'm gonna let that sink in. We don't need a leader, we need leadership. And when brothers and sisters start getting this thing together at home, and you start really, really leading your family like an organization, right? That's leadership. Then it will be very easy for you to see a brother and sister over here trying to do something positive in the community. They are leaders. You will see, okay, I'm just going to pitch in, and all they have to do is spell out the objectives, and you guys can work together without even having to communicate a whole lot and get the thing done, because you all understand leadership, right? That's what we need. We need leadership. We don't need a leader. We don't need leaders. We need leadership. What's the difference between a leader and leadership? Leadership is the example that a leader sets by what he or she does. See, real leaders are in the trenches with their people getting things done. They're not in some lofty position pointing down and dictating what needs to be done. You guys get that? Real leaders are in the trenches with their people getting things done. And that's what we need as a community. We need leadership and not leaders or a leader. So we talked about the power of unity, but the one thing that we're missing, and this is so overlooked in the Black community, we cannot have unity without love. See, the Bible says you want to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But what happens when you don't love yourself? The Bible says I need to treat and love my wife as myself. But when I have very little love for the man in the mirror, it's easy for me to treat my wife like crap and yet say I love her. When I have very little love for myself, it's very easy for me to treat my neighbor like crap and swear up and down I love them. See, we don't have enough love for ourselves. That's one reason we can't unite. It's one reason we treat each other. If I really love this guy in the mirror, there's no way I can brutally murder a guy that remotely looks like me. If I really love me, there is no way I can put my hands on a queen that is the image of me, that reminds me of me, that is taken from, that is basically me in female form. But when I have problems with this guy, I don't love this guy, I will treat myself like crap and I will treat everybody around me like crap. Ain't no unification coming out of that. So the first thing we got to do is we got to fix our problems psychologically, the ones that we have with ourselves. And when we fix those and we really start to love ourselves, two things are going to happen. You're going to get around people who also love you, and you're going to love them back. And those who have no love for themselves, you're going to be able to identify right away, and you're going to steer clear from them. When I love me, then just like I will lay down my life for me, if I love me, that's when I can love you like a neighbor, and then I will lay down my life for you. I will kill for you just like I will kill for me. Problem is we don't love ourselves, and we've got to fix that. One of the reasons we don't love ourselves is because we've been trained not to. That's why all Black people need psychological counseling. Because we sick, boss. In the words of the great Evan Jefferson, we sick, boss. We need to talk to somebody about these issues that we have going on. Because until we do, we'll never be able to fully love ourselves. And when you can't fully love yourself, you can't fully love others. And it's hard to unite. It's hard to unite when you can't love yourself. So no questions. I'm just going to keep rolling, man. If you guys don't have any questions, that's cool. But this is Free Business Coaching Friday. I don't know where else you can go get free business coaching. So if you don't have any questions, I'll just keep rolling. So that was Thursday's show, right? Yesterday we had Bless Ellis on, founder of the Kingdom Family, mega successful brother, doing some great things in our community, right? But then the power of unity, right? 4 things on the earth are exceedingly small, but are great in wisdom, right? The ant, the locust, I think the, what does he call that thing? It's 4 things that the Bible talks about that are exceedingly small. And basically they're insects. And there's a study of how these 4 things survive. Like the ant, for instance, prepares all summer, right? When everybody else is partying, the ant is preparing for its winter, right? So that in everybody else's lean time, the ants are partying, right? So you have to understand that. And one of those things is the locust. They move about in bands, even though they have no commander, right? It's time for us to move about in bands, and we don't need any commanders. We just need leadership. If every man and woman was just leading their families, we'd be in a greater place. Tuesday, we talked about the vision of the Black Wealth Movement. Where there is no vision, the people perish, right? Where there is no vision for Black people are perishing, but not on my watch. Not on my watch. Here's the vision of the Black Wealth Movement. The Black Wealth Movement is here to make sure Black people, first and foremost, get their financial footing. That means you are on a solid financial ground. You have an emergency fund put to the side. You have minimized or eliminated all of your debt. You understand what to do with money to make it grow for you. You have an income coming in whether you go to work or not. Solid financial footing is phase one of the Black Wealth Movement. We're trying to do this with families all across the country, right? Giving them a blueprint to say, hey, you're in America. Why don't you have a business? Right? Oh, you don't have a business because you're an expert in something. Let's turn that into a business. Let's bring some extra money coming into your household so you can pay off your debt. Get yourself out of debt and then never get back into it personally. Right? That's phase one. Learn about credit. Learn how credit affects you. Learn how to use other people's money to build wealth. Learn about asset accumulation. Learn about asset protection. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, guys, if you don't have life insurance, I want you to stop being selfish right now. If you don't have life insurance, that's one of the most selfish acts you can commit, especially if you're working a job. If you're working a job and you don't have life insurance, that's one of the most selfish acts you can commit. Right? So, because you got to protect your assets. Right? What good is it to build all this wealth? You don't have adequate insurance. You fall ill. Now you take all of your wealth to try to recover your health. You know what wealthy people do? Wealthy people have disability insurance. Wealthy people have hospice care insurance. So even when they wealthy and they fall on hard times or they fall ill, they don't take their money and pay for their hospital care. No, they have insurance for that. So they ensure that their money is still going to be passed down to their children, their grandchildren. See, one of the things that I hate that a lot of our brothers and sisters do, they get mega wealthy. They never learn how to protect their wealth, invest their wealth, and then in 10 years, they're back broke. It's like, how do you, like an MC Hammer, have $30 million run through your hands and you don't parlay that into 30 billion? I don't get it. Well, I do get it. There's a lack of a financial education. So the Black Wealth Movement is providing a solid financial education as phase one, so you can get on a solid financial footing. Phase two, we want to help in the next 12 to 18 months, 100 people become accredited investors. That simply means you either have $1 million net worth or you have at least $200,000 a year in income, right? An accredited investor. Then we're going to take those 100 accredited investors, and it's going to be their charge to go out and teach 10 others how to become accredited investors. Now you have 1,100 accredited investors, right? Then we're going to duplicate that model in every major city in this country. 1,100 accredited investors in every major city in this country, working together, practicing group economics, and building our communities. That's transformative. That's transformative. So those are the phases. And then once we get those 1,100 in every city, we're going to take 200 or 300 of them who are serious about nation building, and they're going to pool their resources, and they're going to start buying blocks. They're going to start buying our dilapidated strip malls. You know, the Martin Luther Kings in every major city look like crap. We're going to rebuild and restore all of that stuff, y'all. Yeah. Well, there's no vision for Black people. Black people are perishing, but not on my watch. Not on my watch. So it says, can you give the names of the t-shirt companies again? Yes. I use Teespring. Teespring. Really cool, guys. If you want to start a business and you don't have any money to start a business, but you got some creativity, go out to Teespring and start designing some t-shirts. You got a big social media network? Go out to Teespring and start designing some t-shirts that you think would resonate with your network, and you can make anywhere from $5 to $15 profit per shirt. Go out there and design you some cool t-shirts and put them out there. This shirt is by Lead One. This is not one of mine, but it's by Lead One. The cycle ends with me. I liked it. I bought it. Right? Saw it on Facebook. I was like, man, that's a cool shirt. That's what I'm about. The cycle ends with me. So you can create some cool little designs. So Teespring is who I use. There's some other ones out there. I can't think of the names of them right now, but there are some other ones that do the same thing. And what's cool about it is you don't have to buy any inventory up front. You design a t-shirt, you market a t-shirt, and when people buy the t-shirt, they print them and they drop ship them, and bam, and they split the profits with you. Right? Super cool. Super cool. So is it best to buy and build a Black community? Because a lot of Black people don't own or have a community. We are just neighborhood and somebody else's community. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. It is best to buy the Black community and build the Black community. That is the problem, Keith. That's the problem, is that we don't own it. And because we don't own it, we can't dictate and shape policy that governs it. See, my thing is this. We can talk about the police killing Black people all over the country, or we can start buying up the communities. And when you own, you can dictate and shape policy that dictates who polices your community. And we can go back to dictating policy that says you can't police in this community unless you live in this community. See, when that was the case, people police differently because I live here. Everybody in this community knows where I live as a police officer. If I go kill somebody's kid on some BS, they're going to show up at my door. If I go beat down somebody's kid who doesn't deserve it, they're going to show up at my door. It's a different type of policing when you have that. But we can't do that because we don't own our communities. The other thing about owning in your community is not only does your dollar circulate in your community, but when you own everything in your community, you drive other nations out of your community. When you drive other nations out of your community and you create your culture based on who you are, now, believe it or not, y'all, there are people on this planet, non-Black people, who absolutely love Black culture. They will bring their dollars from their community into our communities to spend with us. Now that's how you grow. See, the reason, so I live in St. Louis, and obviously I'm in a suburb of St. Louis called Florissant, right? The reason some of these other suburbs are able to flourish is because if I wanted some entertainment for me and my family, I go out to Sky Zone, for instance, out in Chesterfield, right? Well, guess what? So do all other Black people. So now do the folks in Chesterfield not only have their dollars circulating in their community, they got ours too. The malls are out there. So we take our money from our hard work. There's no entertainment venues in our community because we don't understand ownership. So now we take our money, instead of circulating in our community, we go out into somebody else's mall to shop. We go out into somebody else's theaters to watch movies. It has someone else's entertainment plexes to entertain the children. So now they have their money and ours. And we wonder why they have the best school district. We wonder why they have the strongest police force. We wonder why they have the fire departments out there, where the fire chiefs literally they just sit around, right? Fully funded, but there's nothing going on, right? So that's what we got to get to. That's what we got to get to. I like that, Mac. MC Hammer was rich with no financial mentor. He should have been part of the Black Wealth Movement. Absolutely. For t-shirts, you can also use sheprintsit.com. Yep, that's a Black-owned business. She prints it. Does she drop ship to Bethany? See, I'm not sure, does she do it? Does she drop ship? So are you able to build a business using her as a drop shipper? That's what I was referring to. But absolutely, if you just need family reunion T-shirts or something like that, you absolutely should go with a Black-owned business. But yeah, if she drop ships, then you could use her as a business and have her create your designs and rock out with her like that. Future Leaders by Design. Can you also use your own designs like a logo or just words? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't have any right here with me, but yeah, my T-shirts, my own designs, I design them right there. I Am Hustle is one of my designs. You know, collaboration over competition is one of my designs. I have the Black Wealth Movement logo shirt, of course, so you absolutely can. Yes, they did police different. They did social work. They also were able to solidify communities and groups. That's the other thing, Monica. When we have police who live in our community, they not only police the community from within, they also protect the community from outsiders. See, when you live in a community and your job is to protect that community inside, you're not gonna let any outsiders come from that community and cause any harm to anybody in that community. That's why, as a Black man, if I drive through Clayton right now, all eyes are gonna be on me from their police force, right? And we call it racism, we call it profiling on all that, but they have a job to protect the people in that community. So anytime an outsider shows up in that community, they're watching them. Well, we need to do the same thing. We need to do the same thing. Yeah, you can customize whatever kind of shirt you want. They offer excellent packages. Good deal, good deal. Someone else's hospitals. Same here in Cincinnati. All of the kids' entertainment places are outside or in other communities. Absolutely. That's kind of just how it's set up because we haven't figured out the ownership piece. But we have now. That's why I want all of y'all to join the Black Wealth Movement. So we can build our personal finances first. You're going to be able to network with other brothers and sisters who have like minds, who have consciousness. Now you start adding to the consciousness, the capital. Now, shoot, man, I can go build me a Sky Zone franchise right in the hood. And take that same model, build up me a jump house, and then sell franchises all over the country and mandate as part of our franchises, these things have to be in the urban centers because it brings revenue from outside the urban centers in. We need not only our money to circulate, but we need to start grabbing some other cultures' money too. You guys get that? Entertainment venues. Think about if we had some small arenas where when we bring in a Kevin Hart don't just have Black fans. When we bring in a Kevin Hart, those white fans will come to those venues too. And guess what? When they fall out of those venues, they're going to want to go somewhere and grab a drink. And guess what? We have our shops set up, our clubs, our bars, our taverns set up around that venue. So when they fall out of that venue, they fall right into a Black-owned restaurant, right into a Black-owned bar, right into a Black-owned T-shirt shop so they can get some Kevin Hart memorabilia or what have you. Before they leave the community, they fall right into a Black-owned gas station, fill up their car. All we have to do is look at what other cultures are doing, y'all. That's all we have to do. If you go to an arena somewhere and watch a ball game, you fall out of that arena, you can't walk 2 feet out of that arena before there's an opportunity for you to spend some more of your money before you leave. Right? So if we own our own hospitals, we can hire our own doctors and nurses and not use someone else's. Plus, who knows, Black people are better than Black people. Absolutely, man. 5 things you got to have a community, right? Got to have your hospitals, got to have your schools, got to have your real estate, got to have your supermarkets And there's a fifth thing that you got to have. Let me see if I have my notes here from Tuesday. No, there is something that I'm missing. Hospitals, schools, supermarkets, real estate. And there's a fifth one that makes up a community, man. And the bank. There you go, Monica. And banks. That's what make that. Those are the 5 core pillars of any community, right? And then you would add to that. Once you have those 5 things, then you will see the need for your protection aspect, which is your police force, your fire departments, and things of that nature. That's why Dr. Claude Anderson said the first level of the 5-story building is economics. First level is economics. Get your money right, then you buy your politicians to get the right policies to govern your businesses and your economic situation. Once you buy your politicians, then you can use the politicians to hire and dictate and create your justice system or your political your justice system, your police departments, and that sort of thing, right? Then you have your media, then you have your educational system. Critically important. Any more questions, y'all? This is y'all start to warm up a little bit. Y'all start to warm up a little bit. When you got those 5 things, man, Dr. Small says it like this: food, clothes, shelter, safety, and security. Food, clothes, shelter, safety, and security. So when you're looking for things to invest in, you're looking for things that we need to build in our community. We need to be investing in and building things that will provide food, clothes, shelter, safety, and security. We don't have those things in our community that we own and produce. So if you can't feed yourself and you have to give someone else permission to feed you, by default, you're giving that same person permission to starve you. So that's why at supermarket and not grocery store, supermarket refers to the growing of the produce, right? So when you can't feed yourself, you can't grow your own food, you can't produce, right? That's the key. That's the key. Then you got to be able to provide and produce your own clothing. You got to be able to provide and produce your own shelter. You got to be able to provide and produce your own safety. That is your hospitals. You got to be able to provide and produce your own security. That is your police force, your military. We don't have those 5 things as a group of Black people, right? And that's one of the problems that we have: food, clothing, safety, shelter, and security. Yeah, banks always move out first, right? And guys, there are so many communities right now. Right now, if I had $5 million, I can go buy my whole neighborhood where I grew up. And the funny thing is, the town that I grew up in is called Wellston, and it is a 10 square mile plot of land. It might even be 10 square miles. Well, I want to help expand your vision. It is called Wellston because it was named after the person who originally owned that 10 square mile block of land. One person owned 10 square miles of land and turned it into a community, then incorporated the community, and now it's a city on the map. You guys ever drive by on the highways and you just see all of this raw, open land? Take a few $1 million and buy 5,000 acres of raw land. And then you bring in some bulldozers and you start plotting that thing out and creating some streets. Then you create your little main street. Then you create your little town hall. and then you create your resident around that, and you call it whatever you want. Thorntonville, for instance. It's where there's no vision, our people are perishing. Nobody is seeing this for Black folks. Everybody who has, not everybody, because you had some of the great leaders, but a lot of us, those who are in so-called leadership positions, are fighting for equality and integration and continued civil rights and expanding on that and that kind of thing. I'm just saying, man, I'm just gonna go buy me a plot. And even if it's nobody but me and my family in our own little city, right? And we have our dollar store, and we have our supermarket, and we have our tire shop, our mechanic, and just my family. We just live there, and we just have everything that we need just right there. We can do this for ourselves, y'all. And the cool thing is we don't need nobody's permission to do it either. You need the resources. You need the resources. So the Black Wealth Movement will help you lay down the resource for it. And then you take your vision and you build whatever you want to build. But we got a game plan for you that will help you position yourself, not only financially, but also mentally. Most of us don't have the mental capacity to even believe that we can do something as great as this. But when you're running around with people like I run around with, we just constantly stretch each other's vision. And it's like, man, this thing can be done. It will be done. And here's how we're going to do it. So if you guys have no more questions, I appreciate you guys tuning in all week. As always, I got another killer week of shows for you lined up next week. I think you're going to enjoy it. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, you got to come out to Jack of All Fades on Sunday. Generational Wealth Blueprint. I'm going to show you how to take a 10-year stretch, right? So you got to take a 10-year stretch and really position yourself to where your family will never have to worry about money again. And guess what? If you're a husband and wife couple, you can probably do this in a 5-year stretch. If you want to network with some other families, you can probably do this in a 3-year stretch. This thing is serious, y'all. It's serious. It says I'm in the process of building land for my family and the community, and I'm using shipping containers, homes, because of the strong structure and cost. And I love that. And community pop-up stores on the outside of the neighborhood. The goal is to build a recycle structure plan that always gives back, invests it forward while growing your community. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I love those container homes, man. Like you said, the cost is low. I mean, with a little creativity, you can do any and everything with them. You can stack them mugs, and yeah, it's phenomenal. But we have been so conditioned and so trained that a house is supposed to look this way, right? And it's crazy that, you know, you got tiny homes, you got a lot of different things, a lot of different ways that you can literally own your home for a little bit of nothing. But you've been conditioned that, no, if I'm going to own a home, I got to go get a bank, got to go get a mortgage. I got to have a certain amount of square feet and all. Man, listen, man, you got to think outside of the box, man. Yeah, Betsy said that she lived in someone they went in deployment. Yeah. Think about your grandkids and the next generation. That's it, man. That's it. Got to think about the next generations, man. Got to think about the next generation. It was a different way of living. I'm sure. But that's what I'm talking about. This whole thing about sacrifice. It's a different type of living, right? We just have to live differently for a few years, right? You got to remember there was a time where we lived and nobody had mortgages, because everybody was able to go get some sand and some clay and just build them a little structure and it was solid, and nobody had a mortgage. Nobody had a mortgage, right? But the dominant culture said that's not civilized. And you notice that anything where there's no money in it, for them, they call uncivilized. Like we all know that the body is a self-healing mechanism. You treat it right, it will heal itself. You don't need any foreign objects, outside medicine. You know, our people have been healing for years without surgery. Now, all of a sudden, everything has to need a surgical procedure, right? Because there's money in that. And they tell you that if you're going to be holistic and heal yourself, that's not civilized, right? They did the same thing when we were living off the land. First thing they said is we need to come and civilize these people. They're not civilized. But we were in a civilization. We were more civilized than they, right? So it's crazy. You can reach me at 314-874-6887. 314-874-6887, Keith. So that's what this thing is all about, man. We're trying to build, we're trying to do something that's going to revolutionize our families and leave a legacy, man. And that's what it's all about. So Sunday, come on out if you want to see the generational blueprint here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you can put me in front of an audience wherever you live and you want to put something together, I have no problem coming to provide the generational blueprint. We can talk about what it's going to take. It's about a 3-hour workshop. So yeah, we can put something in place and make it a deal where I travel in and you can bring me in and we can teach people how to build generational wealth from scratch. All right, so that's it. I'm your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community. Appreciate everybody for tuning in all week long. Till I talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve it. Peace out, y'all.